treasure on the field.
Stat patter, selfish, and self-centered. For Marcus Young, these words have been stitched into his public image, and for good reason. But it all starts back in high school. As a sophomore, Marcus played on the freshman-sophomore basketball team. Marcus was having a very hard time getting the attention he felt he deserved because of this young freshman who went by the name of Freak. Freak was absolutely electrifying the crowd with his Showtime highlights and his signature style of playing. Now, Freak led this team to a conference championship, but while playing in the final game, he suffered an injury in the first quarter. But because of it, Marcus found his moment to shine. This was Marcus's time to step up and play the type of basketball he knew he could. With the varsity and JV coaches watching Marcus, he decided to take the game into his own hands and try to take over. Sadly, his efforts were unneeded and caused for the downfall of the team. Because Marcus wanted to prove so bad that he was good enough to play at the next level, he began chucking up shots and ignoring other players. This was a problem because due to academic reasons, the two other players who would have been his sub were deemed ineligible, which meant that unless Freak was able to get back up on the court, Marcus was going to get to play it out. It was the perfect storm for Marcus Young. Due to his impressive athleticism, he found himself grabbing an insane amount of rebounds, which only meant that he had control of the ball, which gave him free reign to do whatever he wanted. By the end of the game, Marcus finished with 30 points and 14 rebounds, with 1 assist. But he shot 15 of 37 from the field. He broke the record for most field goals attempted in a single game, but he ended up losing the game for his team. At the end of the game, the coaches were so mad that they kicked him off the team right then and there. So after that moment, he decided to transfer schools to finish out his remaining years. At his new school, Marcus averaged a triple-double with 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 steals per game. After his senior season, Marcus had officially broken his school's record for most steals in a single season. But because of his selfish style of play, no colleges were truly considering him. Because of this, he decided to apply to many different colleges with the hopes that one of them will accept him and he'll be able to try out for the basketball team. Due to academic reasons, Marcus Young was turned down from all of the top schools. So, he ended up having to join a junior college where he would spend 2 years with the hopes of transferring out to a big-name college. While at this school, Marcus would average 18 points, 6 assists, and 8 rebounds per game. College scouts loved the fact that he began to share the ball and increase his assists per game. But this was due to the fact that his coach gave him free reign to the offense. So once Marcus graduated, he transferred to Butler University. But sadly for Marcus, they did not offer him a full ride. Because of this, he had to borrow a massive amount of money from the school in order to pay for his tuition. Coming into his new team, Marcus wanted to prove a few things. For starters, that he was worth the full ride. And the other thing was that he deserved to have control of their offense. These ambitions are what led to his team's overall collapse. Once Marcus was fully integrated into the team's overall morale took a nosedive. Constant fights, arguments, and the ball movement began to suffer. Marcus, although a selfish player, did establish himself as the best player on the team. Because of this, benching him was out of the question. So by the end of the year, Butler did not find themselves in March Madness, but Marcus did average 26 points with 5 rebounds and 0.5 assists per game. Now when it came to scoring, Marcus was one of the best in the country. He felt that NBA teams would truly benefit from having him on their roster. So, he decided to declare for the NBA draft. While Marcus was attending different NBA camps in order to improve his draft stock, an anonymous person from Butler University came out and revealed all of the trouble that he caused while in their locker room. Once one person came out, multiple people began to come out. Now because of this, Young's draft stock went from top 22 on the boards to completely off of them. When the night of the NBA draft rolled around, Marcus found himself without a team. But afterwards, he received a phone call from the Mad Ants offering him a G League contract that could potentially turn into a two-way contract with the Pacers. Now, Marcus felt that once again, this was his moment to prove himself. He accepted this offer, and in his very first G League game, he scored 40 points and had 4 highlight play dunks. His skill and athleticism began getting him recognition from many different sport talk shows and began to skyrocket him on social media. But because of the fact that he was scoring so many points per game, people forgot the fact that he was causing his team wins. But because it was the G League and they were receiving so much attention from Marcus Young's performances, they decided to let him continue doing what he was doing as he continued to fill the seats. Marcus was riding high, and although no teams in the NBA saw him as a valuable asset, he felt as long as he kept on dominating, the public pressure to bring him aboard as an NBA player would soon become too much for teams to ignore. But all of that changed when a baller who went by the name of AI walked into the doors for his very first practice. With him followed wins. He began to take some of the attention away from Marcus Young, but Marcus wasn't having it. Now the rest of the story has already been said, but if you would like a deeper dive into it, let me know. But at the end of the day, this was the backstory of Marcus Young. Okay, you guys, that was the backstory of Marcus Young. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that sub button because this is the only place where you can get content like this. And if you want to watch more backstories, you gotta hit that sub button so you can keep binge watching them, okay? But I'm done talking. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.